You gotta take it easy. Well, you gotta take it easy. You know, too many suckers and not enough time to bump 'em all up with the clip on me nine. Feeling like Mad Lion right now, ladies and gentlemen. Feeling like Mad Lion, Mad Lion. Feeling like Mad Lion. Oh man. Yeah, let's have this conversation. So I was running around a lot today, and so I've seen this headline on YouTube channels that Obama essentially scolded black men. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna check this out. Cause nowadays with media, you have to always know, like, okay, what's the political angle from the media, right? You cannot trust, you just can't, you look at, oh, you just need a report and you realize, oh, this is Republican media. Oh, this is liberal media. That's why they're saying what they're saying. So I saw this headline, Obama scolds, and I thought, let me watch this. So what I did was I watched it from different left and the right angles. So I watched Megyn Kelly and her talk in the Fox News kind of crowd. And then I watched the CNN and all that from the crowd. And the homie Ruslan sent me a video a couple hours ago. And I was like, this is what I meant to watch. I had seen this. I just was running around, didn't get to it. So I took some time to watch all these videos. And I thought, oh boy. Oh boy. So let's have this conversation. Again, who am I? I'm a Christian pastor, rap artist extraordinaire, photographer, dad, all that type of stuff, right? All these things. Take it for what it's worth. If you disagree, it's not that serious, fam. It's not that serious. But let's have this conversation. There's a couple things from my perspective, obviously, I want to say, all right? So let me just give you, I'm not going to show any video footage of this because I don't want to get flagged. So basically, Obama he's in some public facility, seems to be talking to a group of black men, and obviously there's a camera there, it's Obama. And he essentially says, this is paraphrasing, but Obama essentially says that black men are not voting for Kamala Harris, or he's concerned that they're not voting for Kamala Harris because she's a woman and we're not comfortable with a woman being president. Okay. And basically he makes it seem like black men, that's the only reason why they're not voting for Kamala Harris. The clip goes viral and both the right is loving it, right? The right loves when the left shoots himself in the foot. And the left is actually responding in ways that that agree with the right. So there's real concern for what Obama said. Now, I've been listening to all of this. And so if you watch Fox News or any conservative channels, they will start to highlight the reality of Trump and black voters, appealing to black and Latino voters. They'll give you numbers, 64% of this. They'll give you all these numbers. And then they appeal to the economy. And all those things may be true. But let's have another conversation, right? So I don't want to repeat all this stuff that you could watch on any other YouTube channel, all right? So let me say a couple things. Let me say first something about the reality of blacks and Trump. There's a reality here. So when you watch media, right? Media is usually the majority of media is a dichotomy, right? It's left and right. The majority of media, right? Even though they're centrist, the majority of media is going to be left or right, all right? And so there's a dichotomy in which it's reported from. So statements get made and they get made for an agenda. Let's be clear. Politics, there's no such thing as a leftist agenda or a right. It's everyone has an agenda. I have an agenda. We all have an agenda. All right. So let's just be clear. So when you hear, especially from the right, the reality of blacks and Trump, that's an interesting statement. And I think we have to understand what's really going on there. First of all, let's be clear about our political system. I don't have a problem with it, but we have to be honest about it. There's only 2 candidates that are running. It'd be one thing if there were 5 people that had a legitimate chance at winning president and people were mainly voting for either Kamala or Trump. All right? The reality is we have Kamala or Trump, or you can put my name in, but that won't get me any votes. That won't win anything, right? When you're thinking about winning an election, you can put anyone's name in there. You can put Jesus Christ himself in there, right? The reality is we're only voting for Kamala or Trump. That's just a reality. That's it. So when you hear the blacks are supporting Trump, there's some truth to that. But if we're only have 2 people to choose from, then those numbers don't matter as much because you're just saying, well, if I don't like beef, then I'm going to eat chicken, right? It's not as clean as everyone says. It's more complicated than that. And then we don't know, how do you measure all those numbers? Black people are 43 million in the country. I don't know how many of those are black men. Maybe 18 million of that are black men. I don't know. And we don't know how many black people are going to vote. Here's the other thing, too, when it comes to politics. And this is actually everything. And this could be a separate video, so I'll make this point quick. When we listen to anything from, like, even just stuff like fantasy football, like when I watch football, we live in a culture of prediction, right? One of the reasons why prophecy and the notion of false prophets is rising. Well, God told me this, and people are starting YouTube channels and saying all this stuff, okay? One of the reasons why that's happening is because we live in a society where people are predicting, they're giving predictions. Everything from the weather to who's going to win, who's in the MP, they're looking like MVP. We don't know. We have no idea who's going to win the MVP. We have no idea who's going to win the election. We have no idea, none of these things. But we side with people who were more confident of their predictions, right? So we don't know if blacks are going to vote for Trump more until it happens, and then we don't know all these things. We don't know if Trump's going to win, if Kamala's going to win. We don't know the impact of Taylor Swift's endorsement. We don't know any of these things, right? So everyone wants to talk like they know what's going to happen so they can get so clear. The reality is this. Blacks could be voting for Trump. I think there aren't these clear lines anymore, and I think if they think they should, they should. There are things that Trump has about the economy that I think have proven to be better than what the left has done from Obama to Joe Biden's last 4 years, all right? But let's just be realistic. There's only 2 choices here. So when you're shaming people for voting one way, they only have one other way. And we're Americans. We don't like to be told what we have to do. We rebel against that. All right. Having said that, let me just say, hopefully I'm not copying anyone else. I've watched a few videos. I'm not saying what they're going to say. I want to talk about Obama's comments and what Obama doesn't understand about the black community. All right. There's some things that many of you know this because many of you who have especially watched sitcoms, if you watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, if you watched and liked The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, then you know that Will Smith, right, was a different black dude than Carlton, right? And he was a different black dude than Uncle Phil, right? So when you're talking about the black community, there are different kinds of black in that community, right? And this is where I think people don't, and this is what Obama himself does not understand about the black community. So in saying that, let me tell you the first thing Obama does not understand about the black community. And when I say understand, I don't mean that he intellectually doesn't make this connection. But I think his statement towards black men, and he didn't qualify, at least from the clip that I saw. Let me say that. Because you get these news clips, and he might have put it in. From the clip that I saw, Obama did not qualify which black men he was talking about. So let me say the first thing that Obama does not understand about the black community, not intellectually, but I think functionally from what he said in these comments. And this could go to anyone. We're just not monolithic, right? So as I said, Uncle Phil was different than Will, and Will was different than Carlton, right? There are black, and the reason why this is important is because there was a time in American history, a time where what people understood what it meant to be black was more uniform. It was much more uniform what people thought it meant to be black. Black people, right? It was much more, there was a common goal, even if you didn't like Malcolm X did not really bang with Martin Luther King, but they both understood we're after the same things. Martin Luther King, his was more Christian, and Malcolm X was more Islam, right? And I'm saying that because they weren't traditional in either of their camps. But they understood there was a common goal, a mistreatment of black people that is legal, and to go after it. Even people who were on the left and the right within the Black Panther Party, Stokely Carmichael and these Marcus Garvey, and there was more uniform understanding of the problems that black people were facing. But today, that is not the case. And the way we would define what it meant to be black was different. The reason why Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954 landmark decision was such a big deal at the time to black people is because we thought we need to prove ourselves that we're as smart as white people. We can go to school. We want our kids to have the same opportunities, go to college. We want new textbooks in our schools. We want water fountains at work. We want libraries. We want all the things that white schools get. And when that landmark decision happened, that's what everybody thought was going to happen, but that's not what happened. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm just making a point. Is that there was more of there was a vision. This is why Martin Luther King, even though maybe you didn't agree with standing there and letting people hit you and whatever, and you don't do anything back. Maybe you didn't agree with peaceful marches, right? Maybe you didn't agree with letting dogs attack you and all this stuff. You might not have agreed with his sort of a nonviolent approach, but the goal was to change the laws for black people. So even if you didn't agree, there was a vision that you had. Nowadays, the black community is like a map of Risk. It's like Risk is one of my favorite games. I play that bad boy on my phone sometimes. The black community is like a map of Risk. Back when Martin Luther King was there, back then, it was like the country of the United States. It was much more uniform. But now it's all over the place. And for black people, what it means to be black has totally different connotations. Totally different connotations. If you're black like me, I'm an ex-street dude. So there was a point where black like me meant be gangster. We had to, in the rap industry, keep it real, You had, even if you use rap music as sort of a microcosm, when rap music started, you had two different kinds of rap music initially. You had the party rap, right, which represented one side of the party black. I say hip, hop, a hibbit to the hip hop, you don't stop, the rockers to the bang bang boogie. You had that fun and dancing, everybody, break dancing and all that. But then you had Grandmaster Flash, broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the corner, no, they just don't care. My son said, Daddy, I don't want to go to school because the teacher's a jerk. She must think I'm a fool. You know what I'm saying? Bill collectors, they ring my phone and scare my wife. So you had a whole different black experience. Grandmaster Flash was talking about what it's like to be poor and harassed by law enforcement and have no hope. And the Sugar Hill Gang was talking about, let's party, let's dance and have fun. So when you saw that happen within rap music, it started to separate. There was no longer a uniform vision. Some people were partying and some people were pissed off. And then so you develop this fragmentation, and then rap gets into, all of a sudden now in the mid 80s, here comes gangster rap. Ice-T drops Colors. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. You get that. But at the same time, on the East Coast, you got this. I came through the door. I said it before. I never let the mic magnetize me no more. You had Eric B. and Rakim just rapping about skills, but then you had gangster rap. So within the black community, things were changing. And then all of a sudden, Public Enemy and X-Clan and groups tried to bring it back to that old black essence. We'll fight the power. We got to fight the powers that be. Elvis was a hero the most. But that lasted for a short period of time. You know why? Because it got to the point where black people in my generation did not care about what it meant to be black in my mother's generation. We didn't care. We didn't care about doing good in school and proving to the white man that we were better. That wasn't what it meant to be black, to be equal with whites or other people. What it meant to be black was something totally different. It meant to be anti-law, to be street, to be gangster. It meant to be all the things that we thought white society established, that we not submitting to that. And so you had a music that came from a culture that promulgated that. Black community is not monolithic. Today, even less so. Even less so. So when you get someone like Obama who comes up, who's from my mother's generation, and he's talking to black people, you got to say which black people you talking to, brother. Obama, you better be talking to black people in the baby boomer generation, because in the younger generation, even in my generation, what you say doesn't carry weight, because we wouldn't even see you as black. The people that see Obama as black are often largely the older generation. They still remember that type of leadership. In my hood, what was black was the drug dealers, the street thugs, was Tupac, was Biggie, was Jay-Z, was Allen Iverson. It just changed. We're not monolithic. So when you talk about black men not wanting to vote for Kamala because she's a woman, Obama, that's a dumb statement. And let me tell you the other reason why that's dumb is because many of us, President Obama, were raised by black women. What in the world are you talking about, fam? My mom raised me. I gave my mom Father's Day cards until I was like 30. And then I was like, I don't got to give her Father's Day. Do you know how many black men don't even know what it's like to have a black man in the White House, or in their own house, let alone the White House? Part of the reason why Obama got voted in, it wasn't because we thought he was black. We understood he ain't black like us. We was singing Kendrick before Kendrick was alive to sing it. They not like us. He not like us. He not like us. But you know what he represented? He represented sort of a Cosby. The Cosby Show was an amazing show that started in the 80s. I know he had some trouble, and you're not supposed to mention him, but I do my own thing on my channel. The Cosby Show was one of the greatest shows because for black people, for many of us, it showed what a black successful family could look like, because many of us don't have that. How you going to tell black men that they don't want to vote for a woman, a black woman? She ain't even a black woman, but let's, for the sake of this conversation, how you going to tell us, that we don't want to vote for her when many of us were raised by our mothers? We don't have no black fathers. Ain't no black men. We're no white men around the team. We was raised by our mothers in the streets. How you going to tell men who gave their mother Father's Day cards that they don't want to see a black woman in leadership when that's the only leadership they knew for the longest time? Obama, you tripping, fam. You tripping. You do not understand your own people. You married a black woman from Chicago, but you most certainly was not from Chicago. What are you talking about, bro? You talking about black people who grew up with a woman. I had to learn what it was. You know how I learned how to be a dad? Most of what I learned about being a dad came from one scripture. And there's not even a lot of verses that tell you how to be a dad, to be honest. There's a handful of verses, but there's fruits of the spirit that are there. And I learned from remembering what it was like to not have one. And I said, I want to be a dad. Listen, here's my philosophy. My kids could not choose if I was their dad. That was the Lord's decision. But they do get to choose if I'm their friend. My kids are teenagers now. If they don't want to tell me stuff, I may not have earned it. So I wanted to be the kind of dad that I've earned their friendship. And by the grace of God, I have that. But I didn't grow up like my kids. They got a black father who's been there with them, who's both a lion and a lamb, who's tender and tough, who will hug him and kiss him and tell him he loves him, is proud of him, and then tell him, son, you tripping right now. You're not listening. Most of us didn't have that, President Obama. So who are you talking to when you say don't want to vote for a woman, don't want to see a woman in power, when that's all we knew? Our community was full of black women in leadership roles. You don't understand black people. We're not monolithic, fam. Second thing Obama does not understand about the black community is, fam, we don't all think you did a great job, bruh. Listen. All right, there's a difference. There's a difference There's a difference between Obama winning the presidency because there's been a legacy of racism and towards black people that lasted the vast majority of the country's existence. From the colonial to the country, right? It was colonial first and then became a certified country in 1776. That whole time, it was North American continental chattel slavery or some version of it, right? That was reality. So from that standpoint, voting for a black man, as a black man, for many of us was a no-brainer. It wasn't even like we thought you was black. Listen, nobody that was in the black community thought OJ was black. This Bama took diction classes to not talk like us with no. Well, I'll tell you what, Tom, I want to make sure that I get out there and But when that whole thing with Nicole happened, when it first happened, when it happened in 94, and he was acquitted, everybody I knew thought he did it. But the reason why we celebrated was because black people had been railroaded by the justice system hand over fist, from vagrancy laws and all of that to Jim Crow to the unfair, even in the modern era of the three strikes rule. The Democrats did that. The Democrats did that. Bill Clinton, the first black president of them. They did that. Like, and voting for Obama because of that, cool. That made sense in that sense. It was more about we doing this because of racial history. We doing it because of that. But in terms of like being an actual president and doing stuff, President Obama, we don't all think you did a great job, fam. We don't all think you did a great job. You're fooling yourself. The Democratic Party is fooling itself. We don't all think you did a great job, bro. We wanted you in there because you were black, and we felt like we were owed that from all that we've done in this country and the mistreatment we got. And we gave you 8 years, bro. You didn't do a good job. In fact, Mr. Obama, President Obama, you know one of the things that you should have done that you did not do, which is why you don't have credibility with my kind of black? Maybe you have credibility with the baby boomer black people because they're your age and they remember what it was like to be proud to be black when you want to be equal with whites. My generation ain't care about that. We was in the streets, fam. We ain't had no fathers. We was raised by women. We learned, what did Tupac say? Learn my game from a woman. Why we shame our, we learned our game from our mothers. Those were our fathers, fam. We ain't had that. To us, to people like me from the streets, gangsters, hustlers, thugs, Obama, you were re-represented one of the most dangerous cities in the country. In fact, every year, if you Google the top 25 most dangerous cities in the world, Chicago will show up on that list somewhere. Chicago, Gary, Indiana, Detroit, and Baltimore, and maybe one place down in Florida will show up in that list, and the rest of them will be like somewhere in Mexico. I kid you not. Look at Google it. Google is your friend, sort of. Chicago was one of the worst cities. President Obama, not once in 8 years did you say, I want to go to the United Center. I want to get all the gangs. Let's put metal detectors up. Ask all the gang leaders, the gangster disciples, all the GD, all of these people from O Block and all these. I want all of them to come to the United Center, and I want to talk to these black men. You were the president of the United States, and you ignored the very city that you said you represented. Black people been killing it. Do you know what kind of hope would have happened? You could have just single-handedly squashed probably beefs and gave these black men a vision. You could have heard them voice their frustrations and then said, this is what I'm going to do this because of that. Stick with me. Let me ask you, please stop the violence. When you had that time and you didn't take it, and now you're going to show up 20 years later and shame black men knowing it's going to go viral and think that's going to make people vote for Kamala? Fam, you don't get it, bruh. We don't all think you did a great job, that when you speak, we just listen. You ain't Black Moses or Black Jesus. What are we talking about? We just trying to be honest here. What are we talking about? We don't all think you did a great job. Many of us can't name one thing you did for the black community. We can't think of any. But people can quote stuff that Trump did, though. I mean, for real, let's just keep it a buck, right? Trump isn't supposed to do nothing for the black community based on the way they say he is. If you're saying Trump is a white supremacist and a racist, then he shouldn't have done nothing for the black community. But you should have. Obama should have. And he did not. You had a whole city of Chicago with one of the highest murder rates. And not once did you say, let me talk to them people. And if you did, I didn't hear about it. And it didn't go viral because I can't find the clip. If I'm wrong, but I don't remember hearing about it because I was hoping that would happen. I thought he could have made a real difference. You could have made a real difference. We don't all think you did a great job, fam. So be careful when you get on these little videos and when you on your yachts and you hang with all your millionaire white friends and all that, and then you're going to jump in and come out there and try to hoodwink and bamboozle us and make it seem like we got to vote for Kamala or else we're misogynistic. We don't want black women in charge. And many of us got kids by black women, and many of us were raised by black women solely. Lastly, the last thing that what Obama does not, what he doesn't understand about the black community, the last thing is Joe Biden ruined some of your credibility, fam. Joe Biden ruined your credibility, bro. He ruined your credibility. And Kamala helped expose it. In the 2020 race, when Kamala pointed out that Joe Biden signed a bill that affected black people, that bust black children, and she told this story about this little black girl that was greatly affected by it, and then she said, Senator Biden, I was that black girl. And then we know that he participated in the 3 strikes crime bill that they later apologized for, that he was a proponent of that, writing that bill that had more black people go to prison for longer terms than ever. You took away the judge's ability to hear a case and say, I'm going to actually drop the charges here. You said, no, this is your 3rd strike. I got to lock you up for life. Joe Biden took away some of your credibility, fam. In 2020, Obama, you didn't even endorse this dude. This dude didn't get endorsed by you until like the late summer, fam. Joe Biden was about to pull out of the race. Then you endorsed him. And then the dude in South Carolina, he won the South Carolina primary or whatever, because that pastor rallied, he was a mega church, rallied all these people around, and that gave Joe Biden new momentum. You didn't even endorse the dude from the get-go. You didn't endorse him. Nobody was hearing from you. They were wondering where he was trying to separate himself from you because you were supposed to be beloved by the black community, but you wouldn't even endorse the dude until it looked like he might not win. You didn't want Bernie Sanders to win because you didn't want the country to be a socialist country. So then you came out and spoke out against Bernie Sanders, which meant, okay, he lost momentum. He would have won the election had you not finally said something. Joe Biden took some of your credibility, bro. And then when he gets in the White House, at first we thought it was just Fox News just clowning this dude. But then we started seeing him, and this dude don't look like he's all together there. He's walking around doing stuff. He's smelling girls' hair. Just being a weirdo, man. Black people don't mess with stuff like that. This dude doing crazy stuff. And then he has the audacity to go on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne and tell Charlemagne, Joe White Biden, the dude who signed the crime bill that helped black people get smoked, had the audacity to go on the Breakfast Club interview with Charlemagne and say, You're not black if you don't vote for me. Huh? Where I'm from, the streets, my black card is validated. My black card is laminated. Joe Biden, he couldn't even go to go buy some juice where I grew up at. And we gotta vote for him to be black. And now you're saying, Obama, we not voting for Kamala Harris because he lost some of your credibility, fam. Now, I'm not saying people don't still like Obama. I'm not saying he's not a great guy for other reasons. Maybe. I'll never meet him. I don't particularly care to. But he said this publicly, so I'm saying it publicly. You tripping, fam. The Democratic Party is bonkers. You've been shucking and jiving black people for so long. And the only reason why you get the black vote is because we know Republicans don't want the black. They don't care about the black cause. That was clear that was Republicans. Black Republicans said that. In Larry Elder's first Uncle Tom film. I've said this before. Go to see Uncle Tom, the first one in 2020. Go to the 1 hour and 28-minute mark, and for 4 minutes, all those prominent black Republicans, they were grieving because they said Republicans don't want the black vote. That's the only reason why the Democratic Party gets the black vote, because they said they don't want it. And they make it clear they don't. Trump at least makes it seem like he wants it. But Trump wants it not because he cares about black people. Don't insult my intelligence. Trump cares about Trump. He wants the power. I'm not mad at you. Politics is about power. And you lie and convince people of things to get it. Trump told all them people he was going to return the coal mines to them. They ain't seen no coal. They ain't seen nothing. The only coal they got is charcoal out there. They grilling squirrels and muskrats and all that. They all lie. We get it. But don't insult our intelligence. Obama, don't ever insult our intelligence again, please. You are not going to manipulate black men who already got enough challenges to vote for Kamala Harris as if the only reason why we not voting is because she's a woman. Like we ain't been raised from a woman. Like we ain't get our game from a woman. Please stop. Michael Jordan gift. Stop. Get some help. I don't know if you're going to hear anybody else say what I'm saying. I don't even care. This is from the heart. Kirk Kennedy, the underdog. Obama does not understand the black community. We're not monolithic. We're not monolithic. We don't think you did that great of a job, fam. And Joe Biden ruined some of your credibility. So please, Democratic Party, I don't trust you. And Republicans, I don't trust you either. Y'all all lie. But people are going to vote for one of y'all. But don't get it twisted. People are voting not because we really trust you. Well, some do, I'm sure. We're voting because that's the system that we've been trained to believe makes a difference in this country. But you all lie way too much. And Obama, as beloved as you are to some people, you lie too. You manipulate too. And that's you saying black men aren't voting because they don't want to see a black woman is worse than Joe Biden saying you ain't voting for me because I'm black. Learn who your people are. Ask why they're not voting instead of telling them why they're not voting. Might go a long way for you. But what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a black man looking like Mad Lion. What do I know? These people are tripping, fam. This is why politics is something else. They just, man, this is ridiculous. Anyway, let's see where we at, man. Let's see where we at. Let's go to the tape. Let's go to the tape. What up, Kurt? Hope all those women. Uncle Snacks, what's good, baby? Jose, what's good? What's good, brother? What's up? Good to see you, bro. The whole world's a stage, man. 100%. 100%. Bruh, Obama got me heated with this inaccuracy, singling black men out. Well, you just heard what I said, fam, so it remains to be seen. It's like he thinks all black people 100. We're not monolithic, fam. It's fascinating to me. That man Obama did more for the alphabet, 100%. Now he wants election, 100%. I mean, let's be clear. Obama, towards the end of his I think Obama helped Trump win the 2017 election because of this. In 2016, the Obama administration started pressuring schools, right? This was just 1 year after gay marriage was passed, the Obergefell case, right? Just 1 year, all of a sudden, Obama, towards the end of his campaign, or towards the end of his presidency, started saying he was going to withhold funding from school systems if they would not allow a person to use the bathroom of their choosing. That was the first time we really started being like, what in the world are you talking about? And so you had school systems countersuing the government saying, no, we're not doing that. That was the end of his campaign. So no wonder Trump came in and swooped in. This dude is tripping, fam. He did way more for that community than he did for the black. You could have at least had a cookout at the White House. Had a black family reunion or something up there. You put when the dude came out, the NBA player, Jason Williams or whatever, the two, and you had to call him up, said he was a hero. Man, go to the cook, ask some black people over and get some ribs or something. He ain't even do that. It's like, man, I'm just not going for it. The crazy thing is the numbers show that black women are also not as popular with Kamala too. Yet he only singles out black men. 100%. Shoot, if we want to be realistic, white men are only voting 32% for Kamala Harris too. Why ain't he say nothing about them? Because it's low. Let me tell you something. See, if everybody says you're woke when you, as a black person, when you highlight the fact that we're always targeted, always the problem. We're always the super violent ones. We're always the ones that are wrong with society. We're always the one that can't get it together. It's like, man, now then you wonder why black people lose hope. There's probably some black men really offended and hurt. Now, I'm not offended. I'm just passionate. But you ain't going to pee on me and tell me it's raining either. My dude, plap, 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 plap. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Why it seems like the Democratic Party always trying to lecture us about how we should vote. Biden says we're not black. Man, I just hit that in the video, bro. You know it. A lot of that is generational, as you said. Generational X and millennials definitely had different experiences. 100%, man. It's just different, bro. Like, we're not the black stuff. The black that I came from was not what black people in my mother's generation grew up. Man, I wasn't worried about showing I was as smart as white people. We wasn't worried about that at all, man. Speaking all facts, you cooking past. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I'm trying to keep my griller, my chef on, you know. Said, brother, your point about black men being raised by black women was a mic drop if I ever heard one. Zach, this is why I said this dude does not know. He doesn't understand the black community. So many of us were raised by black women. Black leadership is all we know. That's why when athletes be going famous, they be like, hi, mom. They are appreciative of their mothers. They want to buy their mother a house. They want to do, Shaq, I'm buying my mother a house, you know. It was about his mom more than his stepdad. Like, we understand the pressures of the black woman because we were raised, we seen it, and we call some of that stress. How dare this man say ain't nobody trying to vote for a black man? Get out of here, bro. Us white dudes are getting hit, too, with the whole be a man, vote for Kamala nonsense. Man, get out of here, man. This is crazy. Yeah, bro, he tripping big time. 100%, Larry. It's great to see you and Strack back together. Yeah, man, we did cross-examine. We're not going to do an episode every week, but we are coming back. We working it out. It's probably that new cross-examine episodes are going to come on Friday nights because that's the night this just works best for us. During the week, it's just too chaotic. And we started missing weeks and getting inconsistent. So when we do what we're going to do, but I'll put everybody hip. That was actually impromptu. That was actually an impromptu, John. I just hit Strack and was like, what you doing right now? Let's go live. So it wasn't like really planned. We just did it. But after doing it, we liked it. So we're gonna get back to it. Your courage to speak out is inspiring. Keep it up, fam. Anthony Span, thank you, brother. Thank you, famo. Appreciate it. Obama acts like he has never heard. Man, 100%. Dear mama. It's that Tupac. That's what I'm saying. Even though you was a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama. Man, I'm telling you, bro. That wasn't my mom. She wasn't no crack fiend, but man, I watched my mother raise me and my brother. I gave her Father's Day cards for decades, bro. Decades. So, like, that's why I say he doesn't know what he's talking about, man. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. A registered nonpartisan, I need somebody to waste my vote on. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. You could write in my name, though. Write in Kirk Kennedy, you know. I get enough votes. Maybe they might be like, who's this Kirk Kennedy guy? And I'll start figuring out what we should do with the country. You know what I'm saying? Okay, because my question is, Kirk, what did Black President Trump do for the black community? So if you mean directly for it, so there's two different ways to answer that question. You can say black business owners benefited greatly from Trump's tax breaks and policies, right? In ways that they didn't. You could say that wasn't for the black community, but then that's the case. He did it for whoever was in that system, right? Then you have the whole. First of all, even letting people like black people come into the White House and share their concerns, letting Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Now these people were famous, but you know there were some people who got out of prison who were pardoned by Trump, black people, because of that. That's more individual. In terms of a more corporate base, I think besides the taxes and stuff like that, I think you'd have to look at some of the stuff he did with HBCUs. Now, here's what's interesting. In one minute, it looked like Trump just passed a landmark deal, but then I heard they didn't get the funding. So some of it could be the boomerang effect, right? So there's other things that I'm drawing a blank on now because my point wasn't what Trump's done for the black community. So I can't remember some of the things that he's done and that I can prove that are legitimate. But I mean, just Google, go to Perplexity. I mean, just you can check that out. I don't always remember all the facts and details because my point wasn't what Trump has done. It's just that there are black people who say, look at what Trump has done versus Obama. So they would probably be better to answer that question. As Kirk came for president, they don't want that smoke from me, baby. They don't want that smoke from me. I love my mama to death, but I'd never choose her to run the country. I know my mama. My mama wouldn't want to run this country, so I'm not even worried about it. I just think it's the reality. Listen, man, and I'm gonna just say this at the end. And one of the reasons why, well, I don't know if this is why black men may not vote for Kamala. I think with Obama better come out and apologize deeply. If his pride doesn't let him, it's gonna show up in the polls. Cause you ain't gonna make cause black people, I should have said this too, but you don't know. We just proud, man. I mean, all people are proud, but there's a level of like, man, you ain't gonna tell after everything we've been through, you're not gonna tell me what I gotta do as a black. So the fact that he did that is that I know black people's gonna be like, I definitely ain't voting for her now. You gonna make Bama's vote for Trump just off a general principle, because they don't like what you said. And that's true. That's how black men, I'm telling you, man, you don't know your own people, bro. But I just think Kamala Harris, man, remember what made Kamala Harris drop out? Remember, she was the first major name that dropped out of the presidential election. You thought she dropped out. You know why? Because Tulsi, remember that Tulsi Gabbard cooked her. She cooked her. When she talked about her record as a prosecuting attorney, she cooked Kamala Harris. And she did not have a good comeback. She talked about the extra prison time, the ways that she brought. If I remember correctly, and I'm sure it's on YouTube. It was a 2020 debate, Republican debate, or no, it was a Republican debate because back then Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat, but she wasn't getting a lot of steam. She wasn't. It was really Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden were the head. And then you had Cory Booker, a black dude, I think from New Jersey, was kind of out there, and Kamala Harris was still out there, right? And then you had Amy, starts with an R, Amy, I forgot her last name. She was running for president as well. But what you got was Tulsi Gabbard cooked her, said you sent men to prison for inordinate amounts of time for stuff like weed. Black men, you did more damage to the community than you helped. Shortly after that, Kamala Harris pulled out. Black men don't forget stuff like that, fam. And let's be clear. And I promise I'm ending with this. Kamala Harris is only running for president. The only reason why they didn't even want Kamala. Don't insult our intelligence, Obama. Y'all didn't even want her to be president until that first debate where it was clear, it was more clear than ever that Joe Biden is between two worlds. He's got one foot on the grave and the other on a banana, and he's slipping. That dude didn't even know. And that's when there was so much backlash that they had no choice. And if they would have started all over, then all that super PAC money, all that campaign financing would have been gone. So you had to give it to Kamala Harris because she was on the ticket. She instantly inherited that money. And then all of a sudden, it was like, we're excited about Kamala. You weren't excited. You were trying to this 80-year-old white dude who has Alzheimer's pretend like he could pretend like he was running the country and then could run the country again. Don't insult our intelligence. Obama, we know that she's only running because there was no other option in the Democratic Party. Like, that's what I mean. Like, please stop. Amy Klobuchar. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. That was it. Amy Klobuchar. So anyway, man, I just think, yeah, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, Caleb. Always, brother. Roger Affirmative. You know about Blue Black. Roger Affirmative. That's the dude right there. Real man's man right there. So what has Trump done? Different podcast, brother. This podcast isn't about what Trump's done. It's about what Obama said. That's a different podcast, but I'm with it. Where he just I think he did cost Kamala Harris. I think he did. Yeah. But anyway, I'm out of here. I'm gonna see y'all again. My bad. I've been gone for a couple days. I've been chilling, but I got a lot to talk about right now. And so I thought, let me get this Obama thing off of my chest. Like and subscribe to the channel. Let everybody know it is what it is. You can agree to disagree. You can argue with me. Don't ask me what Trump has done. That's not what this video was about. I'm not going to, in the comment section, be telling you what Trump has done. Here's what you can do, though. Go to Perplexity AI. I use Perplexity all the time. And ask Perplexity to list out what he's done. And then you can figure out if you like it or not. Don't make me do the work for you. You do the work. This video was not saying Trump has done a ton. It was saying we know what the Democrats and what Obama didn't do. And we know the real reason why Kamala's running. Don't insult our intelligence. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you don't vote. Don't be lied to get your vote. That ain't happening. All right, man. I appreciate y'all. Grace and peace. Like and subscribe to the channel. Kirk Kennedy, the underdog. Got an album coming out soon. But you're gonna see me again, Lord willing. You might even see me later on today. I got something else I feel like talking about. Grace and peace, y'all.